Good day to you, Madam Ain, and everyone watching this short video. First off, I would like to thank the lecturer of this course, Madam Ain, for giving me this opportunity to shed light on one of the most critical maritime gateways in the 21st century. When talking about choke points or essential trade route, one would almost instantly think of the Suez and Panama canals. Still, the one I'm going to talk about today is the Strait of Hormuz. As you can see here on the map, this narrow and strategically important stretch of water is known as the Strait of Hormuz. If we zoom out a bit, we can see it is situated between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. Of course, for better context, on the whereabouts of this strait, let's see the countries bordering it. To the north, we have Iran, one of the major players in the dispute regarding the strait, alongside its sworn enemy, the US, but more on that later. Next, to the south of it, we have Oman, while on the west side, we have UAE. Alright, so we have two Arab countries and Iran. Add the US into the equation, and you are starting to understand why this stretch of water is critical. If the first thing that crosses your mind is oil, you are right. The Strait of Hormuz is the region's primary gateway for oil transportation, inbound or outbound. So, you must be wondering, how are these oils being transported through that narrow waterway? By using oil tankers, of course, namely the very large and ultra-large crude carriers. Okay, now that you're all caught up on the background of the strait, I'll let you in on the dispute and conflict regarding this critical choke point. Before we talk about Uncle Sam's involvement in all of this, we first have to talk about the Iran-Iraq war in the 1980s, especially the tanker war phase. In 1984 to be exact, after what seemed like a never-ending attack from both sides, the two countries began attacking each other's oil tanker shipping in the Persian Gulf. The motive of this attack was to provoke Iran in closing the strait and affecting the oil and gas trade. Iran's response was only limited to attacking Iraqi shipping though. Now, the juicy part. America's involvement on the strait. Don't get me wrong, but America has been making its presence known in the Strait of Hormuz for quite some time now, but only to a certain extent. It was not until Trump's administration that the tension at this choke point got worse. The reason for Trump's foreign policy of anti-Iran, in which he showed by withdrawing the US from the 2015 nuclear deal signed with Iran. On top of that, he also imposed sanctions on the former strait. Iran's response to all of this was threatening to close the strait. This was followed by attacks on 4 tankers near the waterway in June 2019, in which Trump blamed Iran for 2 of it, despite Tehran's denial. Then in July 2019, Iran's Revolutionary Guards claimed that they had captured a British-flagged oil tanker in the Persian Gulf after Britain seemingly seized an Iranian vessel in Gibraltar on July 4th. What's next in this dispute? Iran's claim to close the strait in 2018 seems to be way past us for now. Even if this provocation did not affect oil prices at the time, what's happening now in East Europe certainly has. As for the Iran-US relationship, the Biden administration is working on the diplomacy route with the former, but even that seems to be failing. My take on this is, if Iran ever closes the Strait of Hormuz during this unprecedented time, it will cause a major breakdown in a global scale. Before I leave, I will leave you with a video illustrating the extent of any disruption if it is done to the strait. My name is Samuel Justin Ajal, and this is my short video.